If you're planning to fly after turning 65, there's a 90% chance you'll walk into an airport in 2026 completely unprepared for what's waiting at that check-in counter. January brought sweeping changes that turned the old way of flying into a memory, and seniors are getting caught in the crossfire. From new wheelchair assistance deadlines that airlines won't tell you about to biometric face scans that don't recognize your 10-year-old passport photo, the airport experience has fundamentally changed. Miss just one of these new rules, and you could be denied boarding before you ever see your gate. Here's what actually changed when the calendar flipped to 2026. And more importantly, what you need to do right now to make sure your next trip doesn't end before it begins. The digital takeover is complete. Walk into any major U.S. airport today and you'll notice something immediately. The old-school check-in counters with lines of people waiting to talk to actual humans have practically vanished. In 2026, the entire check-in process assumes one thing about you: that you've already done everything on your phone before you arrived. Airlines aren't asking anymore, they're demanding. Delta, United, American, Southwest. All of them have shifted to a mobile-first model where paper boarding passes feel like relics from another era. But here's the trap nobody warns you about. If you show up at the airport without having checked in on an app, you'll find yourself searching for a full-service counter that's buried behind a maze of kiosks and express lanes you can't use. Those express lanes? They're only for people who've already checked in digitally. The bag drop lanes? Same story. You need to have your boarding pass on your phone or printed before you can even approach them. For seniors who don't use smartphone apps or don't have printers at home, this creates a genuine problem. The solution isn't complicated, but you need to know it exists. Every major airline still has a legal obligation to provide paper boarding passes to passengers who request them. The trick is finding the right line. Look for signs that say full service, check-in, or special assistance. These are the counters where human agents can print everything you need and fix problems the kiosks can't handle. And here's the part that changes your entire airport strategy. Because these counters are now serving everyone who didn't check in digitally, the lines move much slower than they used to. The TSA might tell you 2 hours is enough for a domestic flight, but if you need a paper boarding pass printed at the counter, 3 hours is your new safety buffer. Showing up 2 hours early might have been fine in 2019. In 2026, it's how you miss your flight. There's actually a smarter way to handle this. Your son, daughter, or grandchild can check you in from anywhere in the country using just your confirmation number and last name. They can do it on their phone, email the boarding pass to you, and you can print it at home or at a library. You walk into the airport with paper in hand, completely bypassing the chaos at the counter. No app needed, no kiosk confusion, just you and your printed boarding pass walking straight to security. The 48-hour wheelchair rule that stops flights cold. Here's a scenario playing out at airports every single day in 2026. A senior arrives expecting wheelchair assistance, only to be told by the airline, "We don't have anyone available right now. We'll do our best, but no promises." What happened? They didn't request the wheelchair at least 48 hours before departure, and now the system is treating them like a walk-in at a fully booked restaurant. This isn't a suggestion anymore. Major U.S. airlines and airports, places like Atlanta, Denver, LAX, Chicago O'Hare, now operate under a policy where wheelchair and mobility assistance must be added to your booking a minimum of 48 hours before your scheduled departure time. If that note isn't in the system, staff will say they'll try to help, but in reality, you're behind every passenger who did pre-book. That's how seniors end up dragging bags through long terminals or nearly missing connections because nobody ever shows up with a chair. New Department of Transportation regulations that took effect on January 16, 2025, now require airlines to notify you in writing when your wheelchair is loaded onto the aircraft. If it's not loaded, they must tell you why. If your wheelchair is damaged or delayed, there's now a legal presumption that the airline violated federal law. Airlines must provide a loaner wheelchair, reimburse you for transportation costs, and give you the option to choose your own repair vendor at their expense. These are real protections, but only if you requested the assistance properly in the first place. When you book your ticket, use this exact phrase. Can you add continuous mobility assistance from check-in through boarding with no handoffs? That single sentence gets you more than just a wheelchair at the curb. It gets you a person who stays with you through the entire journey. Check-in, security, gate, boarding. One person, one journey, 0 gaps. Priority boarding rights you never knew you had. Most seniors stand in regular boarding groups with aching knees, watching passengers with expensive credit cards walk on first, and think that's just how it works. It's not. If you have arthritis, a replaced knee or hip, chronic pain, or simply can't stand in one place for extended periods, U.S. airlines are required to treat that as a mobility limitation under Department of Transportation accessibility rules. You don't need a wheelchair to board early. You need to know how to ask. The system airlines use is called a Special Service Request, or SSR. It's a hidden note attached to your ticket that tells gate agents you qualify for assisted or priority boarding. When you book, call the airline and say, "Can you add a special service request for mobility support and assisted boarding to my reservation?" That language matters because it speaks the system's language. Your boarding pass gets flagged, and at the gate, you're called to board with the early or assisted group. This is the difference between standing for 15 minutes in a crowded jetway with pain shooting through your joints and sitting down calmly in your seat with time to stow your bag and catch your breath before everyone else boards. Keeping your companion with you. Here's something that shocks most people. If you've been flagged for mobility assistance, federal rules under the Air Carrier Access Act often allow one companion to stay with you through security and boarding, even if you're in different boarding groups. At check-in, instead of saying, "We're traveling together," use this. "We're traveling together and I'm under mobility assistance. Please link our boarding for companion continuity." That phrase tells the system your companion isn't just trying to cut the line. They're part of your documented accessibility plan. In many cases, the airline will pull your companion into your earlier boarding group or mark your reservation so gate staff know not to separate you. And what if your companion isn't even flying with you? Let's say your daughter is dropping you off, but you're anxious about navigating TSA and finding the gate alone. Many U.S. airports allow airlines to issue a gate pass or non-passenger escort pass. It lets a family member go through security with you, walk you to the gate, and help you get settled before boarding. At the check-in counter, ask, "I have mobility issues and my daughter is helping me today. Is it possible to issue her a gate pass so she can escort me to the gate?" It's TSA and airport dependent, but it's absolutely worth asking. Security screening has changed everything. On July 8, 2025, the TSA made an announcement that should have been headline news for seniors. Passengers are no longer required to remove their shoes at security checkpoints. The old policy that made bending down and balancing on one foot a mandatory part of flying? Gone. Modern CT scanners deployed at major airports can now detect threats without shoe removal. But here's the catch. Not every lane has the new scanners, and TSA agents don't always remember to tell passengers. The rule now is simple. Keep your shoes on, unless specifically instructed otherwise. If you're asked to remove them, and that's genuinely hard on your body, mention that you're over 65 with mobility issues and ask if there's another screening option. Medical devices and implants have also gotten clearer rules. If you travel with a CPAP machine, insulin, heart medication, or liquid nutrition, TSA treats those as medically necessary items. In many cases, they can stay in your bag during screening instead of being pulled out. A quick heads up to the TSA officer helps. You're declaring that medical items are inside. For pacemakers, metal implants, knee replacements, and surgical screws, TSA has a notification card you can print from their website and fill out with a short note like pacemaker fitted or metal implant in left knee. Handing that card to the officer before you step into the scanner tells them, you're going to see something. It's medical, not a mystery. For pacemakers especially, let them know you'd prefer a manual pat-down rather than having a handheld wand waved over your chest. Medication rules that actually make sense. In 2026, there are two categories of medications you need to understand: liquids and pills. For liquids, insulin, prescription syrups, liquid nutrition, and the ice packs that keep them cold. TSA considers these medically necessary liquids. They can exceed the 3.4-ounce limit, but only if you declare them before screening. Don't hide them in your toiletry bag. Separate them, place them on top of your carry-on, and when you reach the officer, say, "These are medically necessary liquids for my condition. They may be over 3.4 ounces. They might swab or scan them, but you've told them exactly what they are from the start." Pills are where things change between domestic and international travel. On U.S. domestic flights, TSA usually doesn't mind if your meds sit in a Monday through Sunday pill organizer. But once you fly internationally, some countries, Japan, the UAE, parts of Europe, really dislike mystery pills in a plastic box with no label. For trips abroad, keep your original pharmacy bottles with your name, the drug name, and dose printed on the label. You can still use a daily organizer, but keep the labeled containers in your bag. Before any long international trip, especially if you'll be gone more than 90 days. Check the official health or customs page for the country you're visiting to see if any of your medications are restricted and how many months you're allowed to carry. Temperature-sensitive medications and medical cooler bags. If you travel with insulin or any medication that hates heat, you've probably sat on a plane thinking, "Is this getting too warm right now?" Under current U.S. rules, a small dedicated medical bag is usually treated separately from your normal carry-on allowance. Use a small, soft cooler or insulated pouch and add a tag that says medical or insulin. Cabin air can get warm, and overhead bins are often even hotter, especially on long flights. For insulin and temperature-sensitive meds, always bring your own insulated bag. On some flights, the crew may help by storing a labeled medical pouch in a cooler galley spot. The best moment to ask is as you board. Walk on with your small labeled cooler in hand and say to the flight attendant, "I'm traveling with temperature-sensitive medication. Could you please keep it in the crew cooler so it stays safe?" A small, clearly labeled pouch makes it much easier for them to say yes. Accessibility, seating, and when to demand help. A tight middle seat at 25 is annoying. At 65, with bad knees or a replaced hip, it can knock you out for days. On many U.S. airlines under Department of Transportation rules, an aisle or bulkhead seat can count as an accessibility need. If you struggle to stand up, need quick restroom access, use a cane or walker, or have serious joint pain, you're not asking for luxury. You're asking for a seat your body can safely manage. What changes everything is how you frame the request. Use this language. I need an accessibility seat for mobility and comfort under the DOT policy, and if that's not possible, may I speak with the complaint resolution official? That one line tells them this is about accessibility, not preference, and reminds the airline that there's a specific person, the complaint resolution official, or CRO, whose job is to handle disability and access issues. U.S. airlines are required to have a CRO available at each airport they serve during operating hours. Quiet rooms, the airport's best-kept secret. More big hubs, Atlanta, Dallas, Fort Worth, Denver, are adding quiet rooms, sensory rooms, or accessibility lounges. Softer lighting, less noise, seats you can actually relax in. They were first designed for neurodivergent travelers, but many airports now let anyone who needs a calmer space use them, including seniors. You usually won't see a big sign, so you have to ask. At an information desk or gate, say, "Where is the accessibility lounge or quiet waiting area?" If you're already flagged for assisted boarding, you can ask, "I'm under assisted boarding. Am I eligible for a quiet or accessibility waiting area?" When the answer is yes, everything changes. Instead of spending a delay in a hard plastic chair under a loudspeaker, you're in a calmer corner where your heart rate can come down and your body can reset before the next flight. Real ID and biometric screening. When was the last time you really looked at the ID you hand over at the airport? Not for your name, but for that tiny star in the corner. Starting May 7, 2025, Real ID became the standard for domestic flights. If your license doesn't have that little star, or if it's marked not for federal identification, it's still fine for driving, but TSA can't treat it as your main ID at the checkpoint. You'll need something else ready for U.S. flights, like a Real ID compliant state ID or a valid passport. More airports and airlines are using biometric checks at kiosks, boarding gates, and passport control. The system compares today's face to an old photo. If your passport picture is 10 years old and you've aged in ways the software struggles with, it can stall. The fix: carry a second ID with a more recent photo and let a human officer clear you the old-fashioned way. Your 2026 travel protocol. First, fix your timing. Aim for 90 minutes on domestic connections and at least 2.5 hours when changing planes internationally, especially at big hubs like JFK or Atlanta. That extra time lets you walk, find a restroom, handle a gate change, and still make the next flight without racing across the terminal. Next, protect your circulation. Use a 1-hour rule. Don't sit completely still for more than 60 minutes. When the seatbelt sign is on, keep your legs moving with small ankle circles and heel lifts. When it's off and safe, take short walks up the aisle. Add proper compression socks and steady water instead of round after round of coffee or wine. Let tech work for you. A watch or phone with fall detection and location sharing is a real backup. Turn on fall alerts and share your trip or live location with family. If you get dizzy in a restroom or on an escalator, that device can trigger help. Finally, for international trips, get travel medical insurance and look at how it treats pre-existing conditions. Most policies check a look-back window, often 60 to 180 days. Pick a plan that offers a pre-existing condition waiver, and you usually only get that waiver if you buy soon after you book your trip, not the week before departure. The bottom line: airlines and airports aren't slowing down in 2026. More apps, more scanners, more fine print. But with planning, your age becomes an advantage. You get the extra time, the better seat, the real help with meds and mobility, and you still have energy left to enjoy the trip. Pack your meds, check that ID, give yourself more time than the app suggests, and request your wheelchair assistance 48 hours out. Know your rights, Use the language the system understands, and don't be afraid to ask for the complaint resolution official when you need one. The rules have changed, but so have your protections. You just have to know they exist.